This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. A 31-year-old woman remains in a critical condition tonight at Melbourne's Alfred Hospital after she was struck by a car while on a morning walk in Riverside. Police believe the driver's vision was obstructed by the sun while the pedestrian was wearing noise-cancelling headphones.
Items scattered on the road after an early morning walk went horribly wrong. Around 7 a.m, a 31-year-old woman was walking east on this road near Riverside when she was struck from behind by a utility. Paramedics rushed her to the Launceston General Hospital in a critical condition. It's believed the rising sun may have obscured the driver's vision.
One of the weather conditions we are considering is where the sun was at that time of the morning, so it is believed that the sun was rising and may have been a contributing factor to the crash. The
19-year-old behind the wheel was uninjured. Investigators analysed the scene to determine the car's speed and point of impact. A set of headphones also found nearby.
So we can assume that she was wearing those and may not have been aware of her environment, which may have been also a contributor to the crash.
Police say today's crash is a tragic reminder for pedestrians to always pay attention to traffic conditions.
If you are a pedestrian, you are to walk in the opposite direction to the traffic, so you do have the traffic that is coming towards you in sight.
Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Sean McComish, Southern Cross News.
Two former Tasmanian councillors have appeared in court on conflict of interest charges. Jenny Branch-Allen and David Pearce pleaded not guilty, with the magistrate saying the matter is set to go to a hearing.
The past turmoil of the Glenorchy City Council spilling into court today. Two former aldermen facing charges over a 2016 council meeting. A report tabled in Parliament outlined concerns about that meeting, which it said discussed ratepayers footing the legal costs for aldermen. That report saying despite several of those aldermen having a perceived interest in the matter, they still participated in it. The former aldermen Jenny Branch-Allen and David Pearce are now facing 3 counts under the Local Government Act's conflict of interest section. It's alleged they had an interest in a matter that came before the council, but they participated, voted and failed to declare their interest in it.
It's a matter before the courts, then we'll let justice take its course.
And you pleaded not guilty today?
I have pleaded not guilty.
I pleaded not guilty purely because I'm not guilty. I consider myself innocent of all charges.
The current Glenorchy mayor was also at court for the proceedings.
So obviously today was an important step towards justice for our community. The matter has been adjourned and pleas were entered into. Obviously the community have a great deal of interest in this particular matter and I look forward to seeing justice done for them.
For the 3 charges, the 2 former councillors could face a maximum fine of more than $10,000 if found guilty. As well as that, the court could bar them from nominating for any election for up to 7 years. The case resumes next month. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
After what many called the worst ever day at the Royal Hobart Hospital yesterday, peak medical bodies say we're on the brink of disaster if urgent action is not taken. The hospital's escalation level has today been downgraded, but staff say morale is at an all-time low.
Clocking on for another chaotic shift. This nurse today likening the Royal Hobart Hospital to a war zone.
Turning up to work and every day feels like you're walking into a battlefield, just trying to get things, just the basics done, which is really disheartening.
Yesterday, staff said it was the busiest day they had ever experienced. Patients in corridors, a jam-packed emergency department and a line of ambulances waiting. Today, it's level 4 escalation downgraded to a level 3, meaning there were still severe compromises to patient flow. Staff once again pleading for help.
You go home from work and you think, okay, what's it going to be like tomorrow? Am I going to come and walk into the same situation again? And you get pretty beaten down after a while.
The hospital should be operating at ideally level 1, maybe level 2 in times of higher demand. When was the last time this hospital was operating at even a level 2? Nobody can remember.
30% of our budget, our state budget, goes into health. That's the second highest of any state in the country, just behind South Australia. So our record of investment stands as a matter of fact.
The peak medical body say the government is not taking up its offers for help. Today calling for a public discussion about what our health system needs to provide and for federal and state governments to start working together.
If we don't, then the crisis we're seeing this year won't measure with the cataclysmic crisis that's coming.
We are responding to increased demand where we can, while we are also rebuilding the Royal Hobart Hospital and investing in our hospitals across the state.
But staff say it's a case of too little, too late, and people's lives could be at risk. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
A new tourism venture launched today will encourage visitors to get off the beaten track and experience Tasmania's west coast. The Western Wilds Drive urges tourists to take their time and explore the region's history and culture, featuring artwork and stories from locals along the way. Tourism operators have welcomed the initiative, excited to show off our unique natural environment.
It's just you and the wilderness, and there's just incredible stories that come out of these wild places, and it's great that we'll be able to share those stories with visitors.
For us, it's about increasing yield and also about regional dispersal, so pushing people further out, and they need a reason to do that, and connection with stories certainly is one of those reasons.
There are hopes the drive will be as popular as the highly successful Great Eastern Drive, which has contributed to a 20% increase to visitors to Tasmania's east coast. The public has thrown its support behind the embattled Royal Launceston show after it was canned in the face of falling crowds. The refreshed one-day format, coupled with a sunny day, drew thousands to the Inverest showgrounds, with organisers confident it will return next year.
Roll up, roll up. For one day only, the Royal Launceston show sent its supporters into a spin.
How's your head feeling right now?
Bit dizzy.
Bumper crowds and not a cloud in sight. You couldn't even pretend to be down.
My day's been absolutely terrible. No, I'm joking, it's been brilliant. I'm at the Launceston show, come on.
There was a ride for every reveller.
We went upside down and gives you chills and all your blood runs to your head, but it's so good.
Some of them are scary. It goes around circles.
For those eyeing off excitement, with your feet firmly planted on the ground, the sideshows were your best bet. Plus, you could win a prize.
I think it's like a penguin or owl, I don't know.
Who's got more chance of winning, a player here or Carlton? Carlton, of course.
But there was no bull when it came to the cow judging.
To win a big ribbon is really special to them, and it's just reward for the hard work that they put into it.
And then there's the show bags, offering a staple diet of sweets which is usually reserved just for show day.
Although the size and scale of the show may have changed, it's still full of colour and full of great food. Even for Polly here. There you are, mate.
Perfect for a parrot, although the Dagwood dog remains a delicacy of choice for the rest of us. As for the show's future, well, organisers are cautiously confident it will return, citing positive crowd numbers and support from stallholders for the one-day format.
I mean, obviously the old format wasn't working, so we had to revamp and do something, but so far this looks like it's going to be a success.
The show will go out with a bang tonight with a fireworks display at 9 o'clock. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Love and loss will fall under the spotlight in a new play by students from the University of Tasmania. 14 young actors working for the past 12 weeks have put the show together, using a mix of everything from Shakespeare to improvisation.
It's called I Heart ... because everyone has a different interpretation of love, and hopefully they'll get a different interpretation from each one of the scenes in the show.
The play opens tomorrow at the Annex Theatre in Inverest. The Antarctic Division is working on upgrades at Macquarie Island, a special scientific outpost that's technically part of Tasmania. But being almost halfway between us and Antarctica, they've had to turn to a special method to plan the station's upgrades.
1,500 kilometres southeast of Tasmania, this is World Heritage listed Macquarie Island. Known for elephant seals and penguins, it's also home to a small scientific community.
There really is no other land masses in the vicinity, so from a scientific perspective, it's a very important location to look at climate modelling.
But this base is ageing. The Antarctic Division is now working on modernising facilities and replacing the station.
The station's been continually occupied since 1948, so it's been 70 years that it's been there. And the condition of some of the assets in this harsh environment has just deteriorated to the point where they do need to be renewed.
But given its distance from civilisation, they're turning to technology to help plan the upgrades. More than 1,300 photos have been stitched together to give designers a virtual view of the landscape and current buildings.
It's incredibly difficult during the design process to get to site. You know, it's not around the corner. You need to jump on a ship. It's a 3-day voyage, and typically the division only go down to the island once a year.
As well as helping to build the new station, this virtual world has been uploaded to the internet. Tasmanians now getting the chance to see our state's most remote territory.
It really is a fantastic opportunity to share this imagery. It's such a unique place, it's a place that very few people get the opportunity to actually see.
Construction is set to begin at the end of next year. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. All that glittered on the Australian market was gold as the ASX ended its second worst day of the year after a perfect storm on Wall Street caused heavy stock losses across every other sector. The ASX 200 index plummeted 166 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 70.74 US cents and 109.22 New Zealand cents.
Hockey Tasmania is hoping for a similar showing of support when the AHL returns to Hobart for the second weekend running, with around 2,500 fans turning out at the state's hockey centre last Saturday to watch the Tigers and Van Diemen's take on ACT in the opening round.
Very, very exciting for the public to see these guys and more so for the players as well. Like, they were just absolutely wrapped last week to be able to get that first game here in Hobart and get a win as well.
The women take on the New South Wales Arrows at 1 p.m. on Sunday, followed by the Tigers match against the Waratahs at 2:30. Former Tasmanian Tigers cricketer Andrew Dykes has been appointed as the man to bridge the divide between community football organisations and AFL Tasmania as the state's new community football manager.
It's about what actually binds our state together as a football state, because there is lots of passion there amongst our stakeholders, and the key is to harness that passion in the right direction.
Each community league is different, and also every Auskick Centre is different too, and we're so reliant on those volunteers who are out there running community football that we need to build that trust and rapport with them.
Dykes joins the organisation after 14 years working for Cricket Tasmania. He's only recently been considered one of the state's best AFL Draft prospects, and after putting in the hard yards, Fraser Turner is now in line to realise a lifelong dream, and the Clarence product says he's ready to take the opportunity with both hands. Turner felt the eyes of the AFL blaring down on him at last week's draft combine in Melbourne.
We have breakfast and lunch and dinner in a big room, and all the clubs eat with you, so you've always sort of got to be on your best behaviour.
And he must have been, having caught the attention of 14 AFL clubs.
They just want to get to know your personality and what really drives you. A lot of it's about how committed you want to be.
His TSL coach and former Richmond player Jeremy Webberley says he has that commitment in spades, having watched the 17-year-old progress through the club's junior ranks.
He's a kid that's always looking to improve and take his game to another level. He's a solid character, so I think that holds him in really good stead as well.
But it wasn't until this year that Turner's name was mentioned alongside Taron Thomas and Chase Jones as a serious Tasmanian draft prospect.
I just tried to take it week by week, and I sort of exceeded my own expectations a little bit. I just wanted to play good footy for the Mariners, and then that led to the Allies, and I was able to play all right through there.
We always knew he had the talent. We didn't know how far that talent would go, but I think that talent has shown this year that he can go to the top level and play some pretty good footy.
Turner now faces the most nervous wait of his life ahead of next month's AFL Draft, when he'll find out if all the effort was enough.
I'd be happy with any. I'd just be stoked to be on the list. So I know I've got to move, being from Tassie, so I wouldn't care if it was an hour away or 4 hours away. Yeah, I'd go anywhere.
Good evening. Fine and mostly sunny today. The warmest weather in the central north. Launceston 19 degrees today. Cooler elsewhere. Hobart 13, Burnie and Devonport 14. Overnight temperatures were well below average. Lyawini the coldest with -6. Strawn and Friendly Beaches today both reached 16. Smithton, Lowhead, Grove, Ouse and the Islands 15 degrees. Lyawini 14, St Helens 13. Some low-level cloud over Bass Strait today, while the early cloud over the southeast cleared during the afternoon. Mid to low cloud extends across coastal New South Wales and southern Queensland. Thundercloud is slowly drifting over the centre of the country. Another line of cloud containing thunderstorms is over southeast WA. Tomorrow, the high slowly moves away from us over the Tasman Sea. It still has ridges up and over the mainland, several troughs and lows over the rest of the country. Winds will still be south-southwesterly but swing around to be more east-northeasterly at 5 to 15 knots during the day and increasing to 20 knots over the north and east. Inshore afternoon sea breezes. So the chance of a light shower for Hobart tomorrow, 17 the top, 18 for Huonville, same forecast for Campania with 19 the maximum. Launceston a light shower at 18 degrees, 16 for Devonport, and Georgetown a possible light shower as well with 16. Partly cloudy for Burnie with 15 degrees, the protected west coast, sunny tomorrow, Strawn 18 degrees, Wynyard a top of 16. And the chance of a shower or two in the east. St Helens and Port Arthur 16, Swansea 17 degrees. UV though at a high 6 for most centres. On Saturday mostly fine apart from the chance of a shower over the northeast and later the northwest. Fine in the west on Sunday, cloudy over Hobart with a shower possible elsewhere. And on Monday showers over the north extending to the northwest during the evening. 20 with a shower or two in Perth tomorrow. Fine for Adelaide and Melbourne, a possible shower in Sydney. Rain forecast for Brisbane with 20 degrees and another storm forecast for Alice Springs. A little bit of cloud over Hobart at the moment, 12 degrees, 12 in Launceston right now as well, and partly cloudy in Devonport and 11. Joe, that's the way it's all shaping up.
All right, thanks very much for that, Murph. That's all from the whole news team. Have a great evening. See you a bit later. Bye-bye.